Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox Chair, on the show tonight. It's the one and only Big Stevie and my mucker, Big Southside. Evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Ox, and good evening to Big Stevie, my mucker, and good evening to everyone listening in this evening.
Good evening, Ox, good evening, Wingman, and good evening, listeners. Welcome to Rangers Radio. The Dream Team are back.
The Dream Team. Oh, well, we're on a better mood today, Southside. I know you're a bit tired, but you're in a better mood, eh?
Aye. Good, a good point. One each draw yesterday into Europe. Always a hard game. Done well in spells of the game. Controlled a good bit of the second half, mate. So we've got to be happy with the Rangers and the result.
Aye, Stevie. It was all about the result and getting through it. You know, ultimately, we didn't play well the first half. We're not going to be kidded on, you know. But we played well the second half.
Well, it's a game of two legs, isn't it? And I thought at Ibrox, I mean, that team get a penalty kick and nothing, and that's what kind of brought them into the game. But surely two legs, and I thought last night it was a game we were rubbish the first half and we played a lot better in the second. But we need to learn to take our chances, or especially in Europe against better quality teams. We need to learn to bury it. I mean, we had a few chances last night to put it out of sight. We need to start taking them. But listen, glad to be through. They weren't a bad wee outfit. But I think we've got to be honest. We should be tucking teams like that away.
You're always going to get difficult games. They play in a decent league. The Swiss league's decent, Southside. You know, we've been to Switzerland before in the past, and we've left with a backside scalp, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So-called good Rangers sides, yeah?
It's always the perils if you're not getting the automatic qualification, Ox, that you've got to get through these tricky qualifiers. And let's not be kidded, in Europe, you usually get punished if you don't take your chances and you leave it open at the other end. We tend to get punished. We've seen it in Europe over the last few years, even when we've qualified, where we don't lose it like that so much in Scotland. Just because of more or less the football that we play, and teams don't come and have a go. But in Europe, you need to be a lot sharper and a lot tighter. And as Big Stevie says, you've certainly got to take your chances when they come along in Europe.
Before we go into the game, we started off with the support. And Stevie, you enjoyed the display?
100%. And I must congratulate Southside there. So the crowd the camera pans into the crowd. The boys have got a big pendant, great display, and all the boys have got red flares all on it. And there's my mate Southside storming with a sparkler. I was embarrassed, so I was.
What it done for me, Southside, to answer the question.
What was the question?
I found out what Stevie's old duvet cover went to.
I'm going to tell you something right now, boy. I do collect pendants, as you know, and I'm telling you something right now. That was a fantastic display by the Union Bells last night. I know the Rangers fans that helped get it up there, and the flags, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was breathtaking, that's all I'm going to say. And I think my mate Southside was up there, my wingman, holding that banner with his wee sparkler up. That gives me a sense of pride. Come on.
Southside.
Look like it was a pie, Southside, there, my pie.
No, you weren't with me, no. I didn't agree on a pie stall.
The price of the pies were there, you'd be paying it up.
You'd have lost about 10 pun earlier in one day, Stevie.
Can I just say something, by the way? You know that Ross County won my pie of the year last year, and I managed to get a ticket Southside, so a wee trip in the cards up there. Yo!
Right.
Just to borrow a bit of second or third pie, that's a lie, Southside.
I was going to say that, he's at it. It really starts with a 3 when he gets to the pie stall.
I'm talking about the podium. But I'll tell you one thing, the old Killie pie was lovely there. The old Kilmarnock pie was absolutely adorable down there. I must give them that. But crap stadium and bad setup. The pie wasn't too bad, huh? But getting back to that display, come on, boys, you've got to admit, the Union Bears have done brilliant, proper there. Take note of that earlier. That must have been earned the wee van.
It was
Brilliant.
fair play to them. And these things don't happen easily, as we know. We've all been involved in enough stuff over the years to know that things like that don't happen easily. Southside.
No, it takes a lot of planning, organisation and that, and obviously you got to get permission, obviously, for the clubs when you're going across, and it was good for them to let them do the display. But it looked fantastic, so it did, and well, fair play to them all.
Well, by the way, fair play to Napkin. Their wee display was good too. All Napkin's display was good. The serviette, isn't it?
That was the first time they had a serviette for 20 years, I believe. Unbelievable, huh?
Unreal.
Anyway, right, let's go back to the game. So, we started okay Southside, yeah?
Aye, I thought we started on the sort of front foot. There was good spells. There was wee good spells in the first half. I think maybe close to 20 minutes or something. We had a nice wee move. Cantwell went through and they chopped him at the edge of the box in the first half. We had wee nice patterns of play, but I still think we're too narrow. I think at times we're too narrow, and players at one point you could look and they had two players out in the wing and Tav's tucked right in. And I think against better quality opposition, you'll get opened up in Europe.
Talking about Tav, I thought he'd a stinking first off. I really did. Just the simple things, you know. A lot of the team, just the simple stuff. Sometimes they're passing, you know. Sometimes they were doing great wee passes, they're playing in, they were ruining it with an odd bog and at the part or whatever. But there was some decent patches of play in the first half. But, I mean, come on, the big man with that open goal. You know, all he's got to do is stick the high heel on that and it's in the pokey, innit? You know what I mean?
We'll come on that. So we started the game and then the game seemed to turn when they had that chance, Stevie, didn't it?
Aye.
The boy went through, let's be honest, all right, we get caught wide open. It was a decent bit of football. The guy running the wee flick inside, the guys went through, the pass for central defenders, but what a save with Buckland, Stevie.
Unreal. Now, we bought him for these big games, didn't we? We bought him for that reason. And by the way, didn't let us down last night. I thought Jack Butland was absolutely brilliant last night. Couple of decent, really good saves. That one with a strong palm of the horn, he dived to the right. Oh, what a save. I mean, as you said, we were cut wide open. Normally we're very narrow. I don't know what happened there, but they found a way in. And what a save for the boy. That's just as good as scoring a goal. Excellent save.
And that seemed to change the game, maybe give him a bit more confidence Southside.
Aye, listen, as you were saying about their move, I think it was Cerquentes that didn't track the boy when he ran deep for midfield, and he just flicked it, and Butland, I thought when he ran through, I thought he was going to drill it, but the closer he went in, it was a fantastic save, but it was a great arm that he got out in the hand to it, and that was a big massive save at that time in the game. And that was their first real chance, wasn't it? They really got, and I don't know how long ago it was in the game, Ox, in the first half, but apart from that, I thought we were comfortable at that time. We weren't it was passages of play and breaking up and then maybe taking the ball back and then giving it away, and that was the first clear-cut chance I think they had, but that's why we got Butland, as Stevie says, for these big games and big saves, and it was a big moment in the game for us at that time.
Before we bring the callers in, but we'll ask the listeners to come in. Is Jack Butland a big tick in the box? Is that fair, Steve?
100%, aye. Definitely. We've always had good keepers here or there, an odd one, right? But we've signed this boy. He's potentially could be England's number one at one point. So that he's really showed his class last night. He's ticked a box for me, definitely.
You agree, Southside, aye?
Aye, a wee bit concerned about his distribution sometimes with his feet. Most of the time during the pre-seasons he's been alright, but he's had one or two.
It's good a couple yesterday.
Aye. But I mean, apart from that, listen, it was about making saves. That's what he's paid today, make saves, and that's what he did on the night last night.
So then they get the goal when they broke away, and the ball's played in, and I'll be honest, in my opinion, Big Suter was at fault. He got caught under the ball, and I can only put it down to. I've tried to look at it again, and I thought, was it because he's playing the wrong side of the pitch? I don't think that should make any difference to that, but it might have done, I don't know. And he gets caught under the ball breaks, ricochets off, falls to the boy, and the boy scores a world of Stevie, yeah?
Listen, what can you do about a goal like that? Let's be honest, the boy has pinged it, bent it right round, and it's top bin, and it's accurate as you could get it. It's a worldie, as you said. It's an absolute fantastic goal. Any of the big top strikers in the world does that. You'd be seeing it morning and night. It was a great goal for the boy, and there was nothing Butland could do. It was just pinpoint accurate, wasn't it? Well, there's nothing you could do about that. But I would agree in a sense that I wouldn't be too harsh on the big man, you know what I mean? But he did get caught under the ball, I would say.
You've got to critique it as you see it, Stevie, yeah? As much as I've enjoyed it.
The big man's been solid, you know what I mean?
I've enjoyed him, but you've got to see it as it is. That's what I seen. That's what I thought. Southside.
I think he tried to get in front of him, and the ball's just came out of his head. And the big boy chested it down well, didn't he? And for there, I just still think we're still, even at that, when the ball breaks, it's about reactions and who's doing what. And the boy had acres of space out there again because we seem to be all too narrow. Does Golston maybe try and slide in anyway, try and block it? It's a good shot, right? It's you can see the gaps there. Goalkeepers that are 4 or 5 yards off the line are always going to get beat for that distance. When the boy curls it, it was a massive gap for it to do it, and he pinged it perfect. Might not have done it every time, but he done it when it mattered, and it was a peachy goal. But Butland's at least 5-6 yards off his line and all at that point, which probably makes it easier for the player to bend it into that corner. But aye, good teams punish you, or good players punish you in their positions, and we certainly got punished for it.
So then we sort of worried a wee storm with Butland having too much today. They'd won their great opportunity when they broke away. And listen, I know Bonner's stunning like what a traffic warden, but with his horn up. But for me, the mistake comes from Golson, about 10 yards in there off. I don't know what he was trying to do. And then they broke away, and they should have done better. Stevie?
Aye. You see Bonner with his horn up, and then he kind of squints around and sees the guys off that tries to catch him, but he's never catching the guy. And I'll tell you something, if that big boy get in, squares it across, his teammates got a tap on. Aye, and I do agree. There was a kind of, big Golson, you know, he's awfully slow, the new big Golson. I don't know if he's fully fit yet. I really don't. And I know some people might say, well, he's not fully fit, he should have been the team, but his experience puts him there, do you know what I mean? But for me, if Bonner's stunning, as you said, with his horn up, and then he sees the boy gone with the full in his eyes, but the guy's a wee little whippet, and there's no way in the world he's catching him. But if the boy squares it, it's a tap-in, you know what I mean?
Aye. But for me, the mistake happened with Golson. You know, I don't know what he was trying to do. I really don't, Southside.
No, he had a couple of attempts at things, and his fitness isn't going to be there at the moment. There's no chance it can be there. It's about giving him games in minutes and hoping that he doesn't get exposed too much, probably, Stevie, but because Michael Beale wants him in the team, because we're struggling at the centre-backs. So, aye, Bonner, it's hard to tell at the time. Boy looked half-side, I think, but if he squares the ball, it's a tap-in. So we got away with one because he tried to beat Butland at his near post, and the big man saved it well. So they should have probably squared the Ox, you know, and it would have been 2-0 down at that point.
Aye, and then we had a big moment. The ball goes out to Sakankas and he crosses it in. Perfect ball for a striker. Seema slides in and it goes to Danelia, Stevie. Man, look, for me, first thing first, you've got to hit the target, because if you don't hit the target, you never score. So that's the first mistake, yeah?
Aye. He's got to score that. No, dress it up or dress it. He doesn't hit the ball properly. That's how he's doing the way first. You know, he scruffed it, and he should have been connected with it better. He's watching it coming all the way round. It was bent round lovely, a great ball by the way, and he's watching it the full way, and he still scruffs it into the ground. Maybe a wee tiny bit of lack of confidence there at the new as well, but he should have been tucking that away, Ox. Let's be honest, that's bread and butter stuff.
I agree, but he's got to hit the targets outside. And was he celebrating before he done the deed?
I don't know. Astonished that he missed it. I'll tell you what, you seen the abuse Sakala got for not being able to score. You know, that one was easier for him, and we paid good money for him. I expected him to stick that in the net, but I don't know what happened. Don't know if it hit the ball in his boot or what. It just seemed to bounce, and then it was by the post or slightly near off at the bar. I can't remember, but it was a terrible miss, to be honest. That's chances in Europe that you've got to take. That just makes the game a lot easier for us if he sticks that in the net at that time, and that's what we talk about. Big chances, big moments in the game. And it was one of our star strikers that we paid decent money for, didn't they put the ball in the net?
Aye, fair comment, mate. I think half-time came at the right time for us. And we came out, and Cantwell, Raskin and Cifuentes started to get involved, play some decent stuff. And they actually controlled the game and made a sustained pile of pressure when we got the goal. And lo and behold, a cross for Bonner. And Tav comes in and puts it in the net, Stevie.
Yeah, unreal. That's a trademark, isn't it, for Tav coming in at that back post or a heat. He's done it so many times, hasn't he? He's sneaked in there with a wee header. And let's be honest, he made up for his first half because he was woeful in the first half. But anyway, he sneaked in there lovely. And you're talking about Cantwell and Raskin. I think the two boys this season is going to be big players for us, by the way. Wee Raskin, I just love the bones of the wee man. He's absolutely brilliant. He's just like wee Jack Russell, whoever never written up there, isn't he? He's absolutely brilliant.
Thought he did best 45 minutes in the blue jersey last night, Southside.
Aye, he was all over the park, wasn't he? Getting stuck in, and even that ball when Tav went running away up the park and then he passed it out to the wing, miles by him, and he had to run and fight for it, and he ended up getting a free kick out it, you know. I don't know what
kind of pass was that.
I don't know. You're like, but you didn't have. No, it was, but it was, no. But the wee man went away and he managed to get the free kick out it and that. He had a really good game. He done a power of work. Cantwell took a bit of a treatment and all last night off some of their players. But he gets the ball and can drive you forward. And there was some nice bits of play in the second half, Fox. Let's not be kidded. We played some nice football at times, and it was some nice bits of play. So you can see that it's getting there. It's just taking that wee bit longer to gel. But we were mixing it up, and obviously we brought subs on, as you're going to tell us, that. So it made a difference, and it freshened the team at the times that we had to do it, didn't it?
Personally, when I took Seaman off, I thought he was coming into the game, but I think that was a pre-arranged substitution, Stevie, when he swapped it to bring more energy to the team.
I've got to say, but I was talking to Jamba, and I thought, my God, the paces without the team up front, and we've changed that now. With Seaman coming off, I thought Seaman was coming right onto a game today, mate, and I would have honestly kept the boy in the field. He was getting them problems big time. What do I know? That's why Mr. Beale's a manager, isn't it?
Aye, and then the big moment was when Dessers could have made his all an easier 20 minutes when he hit the post with a decent move, done everything right. Goalie got a touch on it, but he's got to score again, Southside.
Aye, I think they heated a bit to play with, I know, Stevie, for making subs and that, because it was roasting over there, you know, but aye, it was a great chest onto Cantwell, and he gave him it back, and it just seemed to get under his feet a wee bit. I thought he might have went with outside his foot, but I think the goalie, you're saying, probably the goalie got a touch to it and it came off the post, and Cantwell was unlucky not to get the rebound. I think he showed a wee bit. I think he's still looking a bit sharper any time I've seen him. I think he's doing all right. I think he's still got a wee bit away from match fitness, but I think you can see that he's improved week in, week out for his wee touches and that. I just think he needs a break in front of a goal. The header was unlucky. He was having to slightly get under it. But I think in another few weeks he'll start to show you a bit more promise again and what people think he's got.
Would you start him on Saturday? Would you start the two forwards on Saturday, Southside?
It probably wouldn't do any harm to start them, to be honest. It wouldn't matter. Just be a view to get them off. Maybe see if you can get on the score sheet early. But at the end of the day, it'll be down to Michael Beale whether he thinks he wants to keep them for Tuesday at Ibrox and keep them a bit more fresher, Ox, you know.
Stevie, going back to the move with Dessers at the post. I know you're a fan of a nice chest. A fan of a nice chest.
No comment. No, listen.
No, the move. You don't go to lower the tone. It was a decent move, and then
a great move. It was a great move. Nice one. Cantwell won it. We've done the 1-2. We won it.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was a very nice move, and we were just unlucky. He hit the post with that much force. If he hits the post and it trickles out, it's a tap in for Cantwell again. It was just unlucky. It came off the post that hard, and he couldn't get to it. You know what? Look, I said it before, and I'll say it again. When you're in Europe and you get chances like that, you've got to bury them. They're two chances, Danilo in the first half and the big man in the second half, and they should have been buried. And if you get the 2 goals, you're out of sight. That's the difference in a game, how a game could turn. You need to take your chances in Europe, and you need to keep the back door shut. That's especially in your own ground. That's how you get through these legs, you know what I mean? And can I just say, Southside, sorry we're butting in here, Ox.
No.
He said, we took Seema off because it was hot. Now listen, that's coming for a man. A glance the same as me. They used to play in red ash pitches, 23 aside with Doc Martens on. It was a wee bit hot. Come on, man. Come on.
31 degrees, mate. We're just back after pre-season and that. And so you were always going to make subs, you had to.
Aye, but don't blame the heat. Come on, man. I mean, I'd run about with egg clays on for 30 grand a week. Come on.
I don't like to see that.
I figure it out, man. I think you're being a bit harsh.
No, I don't think he is.
Well, thanks for the ball. Okay, a couple of my rib cages will give away as a lot of life, yes. Anyway.
Oh dear. We'll get a new function on the Facebook page of Old School Blues and Holiday at the moment, but it was a poll. We're gonna run a poll there quite quickly. Anyway. Aye, so after that, alright, we had a couple of moments, shall we say, set pieces when we were playing the game out, but the game pretty much petered out. And obviously we're a bit nervous because you didn't want another goal and maybe extra time, but the game petered out a bit. And we got a result. It wasn't a vintage performance, but you're through Southside.
Aye, listen, Europe comes early, like we said, for us. And if you're not in it straight away, then this is what you've got to put up with. And it's a box ticked. We move on. We're going to play PSV, much harder task, far better team. And we'll see how we go on Tuesday night, mate.
Can I just get back a wee bit there, just before the whistle goes? What do you think? A couple of the tackles in Cantwell, I couldn't believe a referee never gave them. Especially one in the corner. They just ran over, flung him on the deck, and then walked away with the ball. I thought, really funny free kick for that.
You know the problem? I think Cantwell's a fabulous player, and the way he tries to play the game, and he keys it out, he takes it, he gets on with it. But he's always playing on the edge with the referee, Stevie. And at any level of football, once a referee thinks they're trying to con him Southside, you sometimes don't get the obvious.
I think there was a couple of obvious ones. I mean, I think there was one right in the touchline. The linesman didn't even bother. The big guy just put him right onto to stir the touchline for a battered them from behind, and they just said play on. So, aye, but he's not got a reputation yet, I don't think, Ox, but he had a couple of wee tackles, but they were certainly body checking, and they had a couple of borderline sort of tackles and that, which I thought would have got dealt with, but it's Europe, and depending on the referee, because we think referees in Scotland are bad. They're not that better much. There's no many good ones in Europe either.
Listen, what I was pleased with, Stevie, is the fact it showed they can play in Europe, yeah?
100%. And I'm also pleased, I'm pleased with that the Rangers players went right out to Southside and all the boys, all the Union Bells and all the bells up there, and they went right out and give them what they should be doing every game, get out and recognise them, thank them for travelling all that way and spending their hard-earned cash and remembering who pays their wages. They've been earlier than they were getting at the big game, and I like to see that in a team get out to thank their support. That was really good at all.
Yeah, right, gentlemen, we'll get these phone lines opened.
Aye, let's get the Bears in. Got to be happy. Got to be happy after that, you know.
Can I just say before you open the lines, it's good to know that the Totty is back in Lanzarote. Do you do know that?
I'm hearing it's a pair of toys.
A bag of toys. It's a bag of toys. A woman of them.
2 jacket potatoes.
Aye. A bag of King Edwards. Brilliant. Oh, Totty to Lanzarote, eh?
Yes. Who came over that line? That was a classic, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was me. That was my line, aye.
That was a good one.
Give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Listen, Stevie, we're about the football, but obviously finances are important, so it was a good night for the club, and if we're honest, yeah. It was a potential banana skin, and it's done.
100%. What did we get, Ox? What did we get? 500?
I think it's worth about 4.3 million, and it could rise, yeah. You know, but it just takes pound, I think about €5 million, something like that, no?
Unreal, isn't it? And remind the punters that's listening in, what did we get for winning the Scottish League?
A lucky bag and a whistle, I think.
A sparkler.
Excuse me. Just how many of yous are left in the last man standing while we're on the subject here about football?
Well, I'm not in it. I declare myself. I had a go at it. But while you're on, Biggie, you're talking about what's going on and what's going on in Rangers Radio. For a whole season, Southside, Stevie, he sends me the Southside Super 6. I go on holiday, I don't get sent it, and it stoats.
Oh, did you not get
make of that?
Oh, that's brilliant. Well done, Southside.
Normally he would just send me a text saying, give me your Super 6, right? But he didn't, because he must have been in a place with the internet or anything like that, no connection, right? So he didn't send me it. So I didn't send him anything. And now he's coming on here. Now he's coming on here to say, no, tell the truth, you didn't ask me. If you'd asked me, you might have had it on.
What you'd have thought was your mate would have said, he can't, so I'll put it on for him. That's what I thought. You know, and
did you?
And also, I thought my spies are telling me that Mr. Fox had a bit of influence in it, but I don't know if that's true.
Oh, would you like to know the truth then?
Give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
The truth was that on the Friday that we were going to record it, I hadn't picked it. So I just picked it there and then as I was talking to Fox.
That's a way to go for you then, isn't it?
It looks like it. I'll need to do that on Friday again.
Brilliant, big man. Brilliant. I did chuckle. And I did chuckle when my team went out the first week.
Yeah,
But
well,
we-
Southside's still in. I think I
Yes.
might be the only person that actually comes on as presents, like Big Stevie and yourself, it's actually left, because I think GB went out as well.
I'll find that out. Let GB know. At least we went out with our head held high and no stayed in under with our head held low, Stevie. You know what I mean? Certain people.
You need to keep your voice down, because I told Jamba it was him it was out and I was still in.
Oh, that's terrible behaviour.
Oh, well. I'm short a few shekels. I need to go up to Dingwall a week on Saturday. And by the way, we'll be up the back of that bus raising a glass to the Super 6 in Oxford. But didn't get it.
I was your most loyal supporter. Loyal supporter. Not once have I missed that till last week. Oh well. These are the breaks, mate. These are the breaks. Actually, you covered yourself for the season, Biggie.
Aye, I nearly get a 3-0 up if it wasn't for Kieran Dowell and all. And Tosh for Blackpool, he'd a couple of shrekels on it, so he was happy. So he was.
Brilliant.
So
The Totty fans a lot. Rotty was celebrating and all, wasn't he?
Aye, he was celebrating, aye. So.
Listen, I know that old Davy's in the call, but I'm trying to ignore him. Help me out, lads.
Oh, wee button, is it?
You're doing a good job with it, but
How we doing, David?
good evening, Ox. Good evening, Dynamic Joe. I must compliment you in the first part of the show, guys. Your summary of that game last night was spot on, very, very accurate to the point. I think a point I was going to say to ask you is, I think last night, apart from the result, I think we've found ourselves a good goalie. What do you think of
that? Oh, we said we put it out there, Davey, and I'll take that to Stevie first. A big tick in the box for me so far, Jack Butland. Yeah, he's most goals, but you don't want your goal to make mistakes. That one last night, corner, top corner, you know, can't do a lot about it, but his all-round performances for me have been past match, Stevie.
Aye, 10 out of 10 for observation there, old pal. 10 out of 10 for observation. And you were watching it in black and white today, Holden.
Oh, next time I see you, you're getting name all cheeses off of me.
Oh, 22-inch Grundig. What's a treater? Brilliant. Brilliant. Aye,
Is there any truth you missed a goal because you were putting money in the meter at the side of your telly?
That's all right, guys. Bring it on, bring it on. Another wee point I'd like to mention is I know Tavernier, and I've been guilty myself of giving him a quite regularly. Do you think, because we are playing, and this is probably the case, that we are playing so narrow and he's coming inside, that it's obvious where the other opposition is going to play wide, and if we don't get somebody coming back, I think he's getting a lot of criticism just because of the way they're setting up the team. What do you think of that one?
Some of the criticism's coming because he's not beating the first man with free kicks, and it's frustrating, and he's getting the ball away cheaply. What I don't like, and I'll go to Southside with this, I think we're playing as a team, not just the fullbacks, the whole team is too narrow, and I think a good team would murder us, Southside.
I can't well, and Cifuentes were meant to go and sort of cover wider, Davey. It looks like when we're off the ball, they should be trying to cover. But then it opens a gap in the middle of that part, and you can see it happening at times, depending on who tracks the ball. I think we're narrow. I don't know why he's playing it like that, but if you're playing the diamond, it's possibly that's why that happens. I think if you just sit with your two I'd like to see in Europe, I just don't know why we just don't play either like a 4-5-1 or a 3-5-2. I don't see how we need to be so open in Europe, Davey. I think 4-5-1's a good system. and I think it allows you to break when you've got the ball, but it keeps you tight across the middle of the park. But I think we're too narrow. Full-backs are really, really in, Davey. If you've seen it the other night, and come Tuesday night, PSV will fire 2 wingers out there, believe me. That's what they play with. And then it'll be, and then by the time Tav gets across, different quality, different calibre of team, they'll be lightning down the flanks. So that's what worries me a bit. Mr. down to Michael Beale to solve this. This is the way he wants to play, Davey. And if we're going to be too open like that, then we'll probably get punished.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Can I ask you what you thought of Ryan Jack's performance last night, lads?
I don't think he's noticed much, and I think he at times he done a job for the team without being great. If I was marking him, he done a lot of unglamorous stuff last night. 5.5 out of 6, mate. 5.5 out of 10, maybe 6. Plus, he done a job for the team without influencing the game a lot, if I'm being honest. I said that last night, he done a job for the team without being great, Southside.
I don't really remember him kicking a ball in the first half, to be honest, but I think he sort of ran about and shut down, and he covered, obviously, when Tav was going up the park and that, but as in maybe being on the ball a lot more, and I don't think he was, you know, but I think he done a power of running and shutting down and covering the ground. But no, he wasn't as influential as you've seen when Cantwell was on the ball, Cifuentes was on the ball, even Raskin. You know, I don't remember many times where he was really busting forward, or you noticed him quite a bit. But like you said, he done a lot of work in the background, maybe shutting down and chasing back and covering.
David?
Well, I thought he was excellent. I thought he did what he had to do, and no, he never let us down in that department. So I've not got any complaints about him.
What was your thoughts, Stevie?
Huh?
What was your thoughts?
I just very much as yourself. I thought he wasn't involved in a lot, but he does a lot of the dirty side of the game, all right. You know what I mean? I thought he got pass marks for me, to be pretty honest. And that's why I asked, because any time I've heard reports of the game, nobody's really mentioned him, you know, and I thought he's done a lot. He does the dirty side. He marks people out the game sometimes. He makes good tackles. He can read sometimes before something happens. I thought he'd done all right, Ox. I really thought he'd done all right. I just thought that.
If I'm being really honest, I think Ryan's got experience now, but he's lost a quarter of a yard in pace Southside, forgetting about the pitch, yeah?
Aye. You know what type of job he can do, and you know what he deals with, and what his instructions are when he's on the park, and what we expect from him. But he's got that. He's just that wee bit slower now. You can see it, but he does a job, and that's the main thing. If you're in that position and you're detailed with that job, you shouldn't be noticed. You just go there and do your job efficiently, isn't it?
So, Cifuentes, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. What's your initial thoughts on him, Davey?
First class. They're all showing what they can do. I mean, if you go back to the Kilmarnock game, we were dreading this game coming up and the Livingston game coming up. And we have come on, this is my opinion, we have come on leaps and bounds since then. They're all starting to gel, and he's one of them. And to me, they can only get better, and he's definitely one of them.
Stevie?
I see, for me, it seems to be, since his debut and then last night, I think the boy's doing brand new. I can see a player in him, and I think when he gets right up with the speed with the Scottish game and everything, I think he's going to be a good player for us. And you know yourself, in Europe, you get a wee bit more time in the ball, but time will tell. But the bottom line for me is I can see a player in him, and I'm happy with that. The boy's doing all right.
Southside?
I think he looks strong. I think he looks quite balanced. I think he's got plenty of awareness about him. He seems to know where to be on the park. He's got a wee burst of pace. He put a great ball in when Danilo should have scored. So it showed you the vision in that he's got. I think he'll get a lot better, and I think we'll see a right good player. He's good in the tackle, and he makes things look easy. Doesn't seem to get too flustered when players come and run about him. So I think he's going to turn out to be a good one, and I think in time we'll see him probably move for good money.
He showed something at the weekend. He had a leap on him and off for a header, Southside.
Aye, I mean, for the wee bits that we've seen about him, he certainly put himself on the score sheet for the other team he was playing with. He's got good vision, and I think he will turn out to be a really good player, and I think we'll see the best of him soon. But he looks comfortable. He doesn't look like he gets flustered when players come and shut him down and that. I think he'll be a right good asset to our team.
I agree. If we fund a midfield three there, is Beale fund a midfield three quite quickly, Southside?
Well, you'll probably have Cifuentes and Raskin, and then it might be, if he wants to put somebody else in there, it'll be his choice. Like I say, maybe sometimes, maybe away from him, in Europe, you might look to have Ryan Jack in there, but you could have Cantwell, Kieran Dowell. The one I'd maybe be thinking that might look worried should be John Lundstrom. So once he gets a settled midfield, which I think Cifuentes and Raskin will be a 2 Mace weeks, no matter who we're playing against, because Cifuentes and Raskin, even he got up the park and had a shot for just outside the box. So although we use him as a holding player, sometimes it doesn't mean to say, although they two are together, they will always be holding players, because both of them were going forward and Jack was sitting. So it shows you that we've got good variation in the midfield ops and good competition now.
It was the best part of our team last night, Steve.
Aye. Oh, aye. The midfield's looking really going to put it this way. I can't see many midfields getting the better of yours. I'll tell you that right now. For me, Raskin, I just absolutely love watching the wee man, the way he covers every blade of grass. He's in it and about. And as I say to you, there was a stage last night where the player was off and he was running. It was the end of the game, and the wee man just caught right up with him, took the ball off him and started leering it back up the other way. It's just unreal. The wee man is solid. He's a wee Jack Russell type. He's brilliant. And by the way, the boy is Southside touched on. The boy Cifuentes, he looks very, very strong indeed as well. So and then you've got the swagger of Cantwell. So he's got the swagger and the pizzazz, isn't he? So it's shaped up to a right good that's for midfield, isn't it, basically?
Aye, we'll see what it takes. First early impressions is good player, mate. Good player. A good signing to go with other ones. It's a midfield. I tell you what, we're going to hear about Chris Boyd thought of last night's performance. Yeah, he's somebody that is usually sticking up for the Rangers. So let's see what Chris had to say about last night's game.
Oh, they'll be delighted. I mean, I think after the start they've had this season, obviously losing at Kilmarnock and then started really well against Seville last week, and then it kind of faded away. And then, as I said, were able to get the job done against Livingston at the weekend. Albeit, again, started the game really well, and there was a large chunk in the middle where Livingston could have got themselves, back in the game, and then Rangers score 3 late goals, and it looks a lot more convincing than what it really was. But I think to go over to Switzerland to get the job done, it wasn't a fantastic performance, but it was good enough, especially after the first half. It was a really good goal that Sevette scored. I thought John Souttar should have done better when the ball came up, but take nothing away from the finish. It was an unbelievable finish. But the second half, the Rangers, they came out, got the goal, and pretty much dominated that second half. So there is, the building blocks are there. That it's going to get better, but unfortunately, you don't get time in this game. You've got a game against Greenock Morton at the weekend, and then you're straight in it against another powerhouse of European football in the past. Maybe they're not so at this moment in time, but PSV will be a challenge for Rangers, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Beale revealed after that some strong words were had at half-time. There's still plenty of work to do with his new look side?
Yeah, 100%. I think at this stage of the season, there's always going to be new game plans and that tried to build in. But at the same time, that's when a team that's been doing really well. Rangers are a work in progress at this moment in time. There's so many new faces that you need to integrate into the squad. Last night as well, we've seen a couple of them left out the starting lineup, but I think it was the right thing to do because it's very difficult to just keep going and going and going and hope something's going to happen, especially when it is bigger games as such. But I thought once again last night, Todd Cantwell done really well. Nico Raskin, Cifuentes in the middle of the pitch was excellent as well. So there's players in there that are still performing at a high level. But the forward areas for me is an issue at this moment in time. Danilo played through the middle last night, but again, it's one of those ones where you obviously get the goals at the weekend and you expect them to kick on. But it's not easy in European football, I get that, but I would maybe play them again at the weekend because there's one thing you need to do is start finding the back of the net on a regular basis.
You've touched on what kind of opposition PSV are going to be, and it is of course a repeat of last season's playoff. Will they be looking for revenge? And I guess it's going to be a bit of a test, won't it?
Yeah, well, I think what's at the end of it in terms of that, the money for the Champions League, being involved in Europe's biggest competition. That it's a great opportunity for Rangers to get there. But PSV Eindhoven will be saying the exact same thing. When you look at their squad, they've still got some talented players there. Yes, they've lost Gakpo, but Veerman, De Jong, Van Aanholt, there is players there that can cause you problems. And Rangers will know all about Milik Tielman as well, who he done really well for them last year. But Rangers have got to take confidence from the performances against them last year, albeit under different management. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, it was a homecoming for him as such. But he was able to go to the Netherlands and get a 1-0 victory that sent Rangers through. After the first leg, 2-2, you'd have thought PSV Eindhoven were favourites, but Rangers managed to find a way to get the job done and get into the Champions League. It wasn't very good after that, I must say. But I think if Rangers can get there, it'd be a huge boost for the whole football club and Scotland as a whole. But you're under no illusions. It's going to be a very tough game, as I said, because PSV Eindhoven have probably strengthened. Obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy has moved on as manager as well. So, I feel as if PSV are in a stronger position than what they were last season. So Rangers are going to have to, improve from the first few performances this season if they're going to get a result.
Yeah, it's a very, very tough tie, isn't it? And now the win guaranteed the club £4.3 million in UEFA prize money by getting through. And if they get past PSV, it's another further 20 million. How crucial is qualification for Rangers?
Yeah, I think when you look at Celtic are obviously straight in the Champions League for being the league champions, so they've been able to bank that money. It's always, especially last year, I think that off the back of that magnificent run that Rangers had in the Europa League the year before, it was crucial that Rangers got to that Champions League because that was the next step in the development you felt for the football club. But this year, you feel as if that it is a good opportunity. You speak about the finances here, but you just feel as if because there's so many youngsters, players at an age where they can develop. European football would help you, but the biggest bonus of all would be the money. There's no doubt about it. It would be a huge injection of cash into the football club, but if it's not to be, you've at least guaranteed that Europa League football, which we've seen in the past, does help. Ibrox will be packed out anyway, so that helps in terms of the finances coming in. But for the development of the players, you want to be tested against European elite, and that's definitely what the Champions League brings.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
I swear he was listening to us outside.
I know. But it just shows you that it's the money, isn't it? It's the kudos for it, the prestige of being in the Champions League, and it's getting your name back in there to the European arena, Ox. But we've got a hard tie to get through, but should be get through. Then it's the back in to get the riches and get the money for it, and then try and put a better performance on this time when we're back in it with a new team.
My money came out today, £62, mine and Jamba's tickets. Yep.
Yes. I know. It never ends. So, aye. Good money for the club. Important, Davey, the revenue, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. That's unfortunately that's what's it's getting involved with now. Years and years ago, it was prestige and making a few bucks, but now it's massive to get these things. I honestly think that this might sound a bit strange coming to me, but I think we're in a better position to play PSV in this game than we were last time. Because last year we were all talking about no energy in the middle. Well, I don't think we can say that at the moment, because we're definitely getting that at the moment. So that's a big plus for me.
It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. It's a difficult tie. If I'm honest, I would put them maybe just slight favourites, Stevie.
No chance. Absolutely no chance. I'm not agreeing with you. Because they beat a team with scored a couple of goals. Last time we played them, we beat them, and I think we're stronger this time. And I think the weekend, did they not get rid of that Chammy Simmons and that? What do you call him? Is it Simons? What do you call him?
Are you describing something out of Greg's?
What do you call him? What do you call him? The boy for, was it PSG? They go up with loan fare, whatever. He's away again. Can't remember the boy. But he's not who I'm talking about anyway.
Listen, I get your point, but mate, I think we even last year we went in there. I'm saying, when I say slight favourites, I'm not writing as up by any manner of means. I'm just saying they're playing a slightly more competitive league than us, so it gives them more harder games and they play some open football. And we went through last year with a bit of magic with Big Kovac, aided by Malik Tillman. So there's a subplot, Stevie.
Well, Malik Tillman, I'm right to say he'll be playing us. He'll be
potentially.
Aye. Well, we know how he plays, didn't he? You get 60 minutes out of him and then he's breathing through his backside. He's a football player. So what do you do with a football player like him? You let him know he's in the game. You give him a couple of hard tackles and he's gone, isn't he? I mean, if I know that, surely Michael Beale knows that. For me, I don't know how anybody can say PSV's favourites after we put them out the last time. They didn't. And no, I'm laughing at a couple of their media sites. So, we're out for revenge and all the rest of it. I hope Rangers are pinning all this up in the dressing room. Boy, I really am. Come on, Rangers. Don't wait.
I hope you're right, mate. You're right. Southside.
We're still got that De Jong up front and that Bakayoko or whatever he is. He looked decent. He was a decent player. They've got some. Listen, there's nothing to fear. They've never beat us yet. We've battered them every time we've played them. But
Gakpo, Man United, didn't they? They sold their main man.
Aye, but see, they have recruited a good player, Stevie. But at the end of the day, it's two legs, and we've got them at Ibrox first. And if we can come out and get about them straight away, they will be dangerous. Listen, we leave gaps open at the back now and again, and we hope on that night they don't punish us, because they're a good team. They're quick, they've got good pace, and they seem to know, they seem well organised. They beat Sturm Graz, but Sturm Graz scored against them a couple of goals and all, so you can see that they're open at the back, and hopefully on the night we'll get 11 Rangers players turning up and we'll give them a good go.
Is this the fourth time we've played them?
I think it is, aye. Because Van Nistelrooy played for them, didn't he, the last time away back against us at Ibrox?
We've only beat them once at Ibrox, but we've won the 3 games in Holland, bizarrely.
So why are the favourites? Got to tell me that.
I just think that it's a close game, and they've spent a bit of money, a bit of dough, because so we, but not at the same level, and they've tweaked their team. We'll be interested to see what planet. Stevie, I'm not saying I'm fearing them. When I say favourites, I maybe go to 52-48. That's how close I've got it, yeah?
Well, I've got it 16 and 90. There you go. The battle are up. Okay. The way I'm looking at it is, we're a good European side. I know our personnel's all changed and everything else, but I just think we'll beat them. I really do. I don't know what we're kind of foot on the boot and what we're thinking is. I just think if we go into it thinking in any shape or form, listen, there's no easy games in Europe, I get that. And I'm not saying we're going to scoot this, but any of them means it's going to be as tight, 2 coats of paint. I think we're going to come out on top, boys.
I hope you're right. Just a quick one, Southside, name the 3 winners away from home that scored the winning goals. Go on, against Eindhoven. Come on, quickly.
The 3 winners?
Who scored the 3 winning goals against
Bobby
Eindhoven?
Bobby Russell scored one.
Come on, hurry up. Next.
Kolak, obviously, and I can't remember.
George Alberts.
Alberts was for outside of the box, yes. Am I right in saying Wolves scored against them at Ibrox? They destroyed them.
They destroyed them. Michael Moles was on fire that night. On fire.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Listen, it's going to be interesting, but again before that, Southside in another competition.
Aye. League Cup.
And can I just say something about that, boys? There's a young laddie here, Alec King. He's a good blue nose, and he plays with Morton in the centre of he's the centre of mid, I think he plays. And wee ginger-headed boy, he's one of us. I hope he's a great game, but I hope the Rangers do it, obviously. But I wish a young boy all the best. A wee drum chat with blue nose.
Good guy. Listen, mate, if you're playing at any level of professional football, you can play the game, you know. So, or the best, maybe might be a springboard for a lad.
He was at Rangers and he got let go, and I think he's now worked his way up, and he's a main starter in the team now for Morton. So, aye. So I hope he does all right. I hope the boy does all right.
Right, okay, we're getting near that time of the evening. We're going to have a tune. But aye, another competition at the weekend. So, listen, if you don't mind, lads.
I'm away to get the air fryer.
That's a godsend to him here.
A single man's dream just and just let me take 2 lovely pies in each drawer. 4 pies at all time. I'll put them at 200 degrees and I'll be back for the tune being done. There you go, lads.
Having enough. Right, get yourselves a mute, lads. We're going to have a tune.
From Argyle, so young, to Glasgow City, they come, seeking fortune and a new way of life. How could they know ambitions would grow? Such a beautiful story, and here's how it goes. Four lads had a dream to start a football team. They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. They still carried on. The Rangers were born. 55 titles, we're still going strong. So hoist up your Rangers flags, sing with your heart and voice, celebrate the greatest club in the world. Let our history show what we already know. We are the Rangers, the greatest of all. Start a football team. They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. They still carried on. The Rangers are born. 55 titles, we're still going strong. strong.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
So a lot of the question marks Southside have been about the forward line. Is that fair?
Judged in goals, isn't it? You're judged on goals and creating chances. So they've both hit the back of the net, and both of them probably, if you're talking about Dessers and Danilo, should have been on the score sheet. Two of them probably last night again. But I think you can see signs, mate, that going forward they will score goals in time, and I think they're starting to look a wee bit better at times and quicker passing, and they've just had the one-on-one with the goalkeeper probably what he wanted. I know Cantwell played them in, but it was stuck under his feet slightly and he's tried to just get it out. So I think the two of them will come good. I just think we need to give them a wee bit of time, but like we say, time's not what you get when you play for Glasgow Rangers. But if other people are chipping in with goals and they're helping assist or creating, then we've just got to stick by them. But I believe the two of them will start scoring goals. That's what I do believe, Ox.
Stevie?
Aye, there's nothing much else I can say. Southside's totally right. Look, they're finding their feet. I think this is the kind of thing that's saving them a wee bit. They're finding out how each other plays. They're finding their way in a new team. They're finding their way in a new league. So, look, you don't get a lot of time at Rangers, as Southside rightly said, but I think the boys will come good myself. It's just a matter of time. I don't think Desert's has got a lot of speed, I must admit. I don't think he's got a lot of that, but I think he's a big sturdy player, and I think he'll score a lot of goals with his napper. So, for me, just give the boys time, and I think they'll come good. Just give them time, troops. Just get off their backs and give them time, and I think the two of them will come good.
What are you thinking, Davey?
I totally agree with you. The guys have just said it all, actually. It's, I think I said a couple of times last time I was on there last week, I think we're getting a wee bit ahead of ourselves with our criticisms, because it's far too early to do that. You can pick up points and say, well, this could be improved, that can be improved. That'll all happen. That'll come. But I think maybe it's just the Rangers way. We're too quick to criticise. I think that'll be proved. They'll turn out. They'll all turn out spot on. It's just too early to criticise them.
All right, I'll cut across you. We go John, be an old friend of the show. Evening, Cairo.
Hello, how you doing? How you doing there, Alex? All right?
All right, mate. Good to hear from you, mate.
How are you?
How are you?
Hi, Cairo.
That world cruise lasted a while.
Aye, an awful while. Just one of these things, and things are going. How's everybody else in the panel doing? All right?
Aye, good, Cairo.
Think you do, mate. Everybody's think you do, Cairo.
I think we are. I think we're a bit cheered up for yesterday.
And you still doing the snooker?
I've played now and again. It's one of those things, Oxy. You know, you got to keep at it. If you don't use it, you lose it.
I thought with the price of electricity going up, you might have to chuck it, mate.
It's getting that way. Oh God, aye. I'm afraid it was in my 40s. I think you witnessed the fact that it was in my 40s, the snooker.
What's your thoughts on the team, Cairo? And the club, we've not heard from you for a while, so it's great to hear from you, mate.
I think, I'll be honest with you, I'm a wee bit happier than I was a wee while back. I think the last couple of games, if you take the last couple of games, I'd say if Rangers, and I used to get accused of being too critical. I think that's because I've seen the Rangers in the 70s and 80s and that kind of thing. You're always comparing it with them. So going with where I'm going to go with now is I'm going to par for Rangers is going to be the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of Saturday's game. If they don't meet that, then they're gonna. If they don't go above that, then they're under par. So using that as a criteria, I think the first half last night, I think we were a bit turgid. We were below par. And in the second half, we seemed to get a wee bit more energy and we started to play. And when we played with that wee bit of energy and that wee bit of urgency, we look a much better team. Now, individual mistakes and that, okay, let them go. So on the positives, I must admit, that je ne sais quoi we've always been talking about in the year for the last 4 or 5 years, that thing that's missing, that leadership, whatever it is you want to call it. You know what? I seen a wee bit of that last night. I think Butland's got spades yet. He was commanding his area, not just physically, but verbally and telling people what to do. So that was something. And I seen a wee bit of a suitor in the defence as well. Pointing and telling folk what to do. And then you get wee Raskins showing folk what to do. The last 10 minutes he gets that ball and he's running. He's not the fastest player in the world, but I'll tell you what, he kept that pace going for a wee bit. So that thing that we think's been missing, I see wee green shoots there. And I think, if we get that, we'll definitely get better players, more skillful players than we've had for a wee while. And if you knit the two together and you get that wee bit of attitude, whatever it is, that je ne sais quoi is, we get that going, then we'll have a chance to go. And will it come too early for next week? I don't know, but there were definitely signs here last night, which is something that was missing, I think, even in Gerrard's team. We were driven there with something, but it just didn't stick the following season. So that's the kind of a negative bit. But the positive bit is it's there. So I'm quite, you asked my question, what do I think of the team? That's what I think. If we can say errors, that we have individual errors, will be a hard team to beat. I'm still, I'm going to mention these two players' names tonight, and I'll never mention them again. I still don't think Tav and Golson are good. I think Tav gets sucked in. I don't know whether he's trying to protect Golson because he thinks he's too slow. I personally think Golson can't turn, and I think he's too slow. Maybe that's why Tav keeps coming in. But that's something for 3 or 4 seasons, and we lose goals up that left-hand side of the park because Tav gets sucked in. It's not because he's up forward. We generally lose him when he's sucked into the middle of the park, and he's never learned. Whether he's, as I say, protecting goals, and I'm not going to mention that again because that's a perennial problem we've had. We'll never fix it. We've never learned it. And it's going to be there, I think, by the time when Golson's playing. Apart from that, I'm really, really excited about midfield. Cantwell's a gem. I think he'll be a great player for us. I think Raskin will be a good player. Cifuentes looks as though he's going to be a good player, but I've seen enough of him. And I think our forwards will come good. I was a wee bit the same with that Seema last night. I thought Seema was starting to rattle him a wee bit, and it was starting to get there. Nonetheless, what do I know? So, that's me how I'm doing, how I feel. I feel a lot better. And as I say, any time I'm going to talk about the Rangers, I'll say they're below par. I'm talking about the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of the game on Saturday when we had played with a wee bit of urgency, a wee bit of purpose, rather than the bit in between where we were back to that pass, no urgency, pedestrian. And we can fall into that. We nearly fell into it last night for a wee bit. I thought half-time came just at the right time for us, I think. So, we need to step up a couple of years for next week. And I'm thinking Saturday I'd play the best team we can play without putting players in jeopardy that might be a wee bit tired. But we've got to go with our best team, and I'd play the 2 forwards just to try and get them to get a wee relationship going. There you go. That's my diatribe.
Southside.
Aye, summed it up pretty good. Golson's never been great. I've never been his greatest fan either, Cairo. But Michael Beale liked him when he got him back in the team because they were struggling there. But I agree, we lose a lot of goals for the right-hand side, especially wide. I think we're still playing too narrow, but I think that's instruction for the manager. I think our midfield does look exciting when you look at the different players that we can add into the team. So I'm not worried about that. I think John Souttar plays better when he's on the right-hand side of the defence, and I don't know, going forward, if we do get a left-sided centre-back or Ben Davies comes back and he's willing to play him and stick by him, which he might have done if he'd been fit enough. So that, I think, is a conundrum for Hingme unless we go to a back 3, Cairo, at times. Up front, I think the two of them will score goals. I don't know if Danilo could play as a lone striker. His cell looks a bit wee in that, but with pace at the other side of him and him getting round about space in the box and stuff, then I could see it working. But I think Dessers has started to show wee touches and that, even the wee chest that he put onto Cantwell, and he was unlucky that he didn't get his cell on the score sheet. But I can see promise for they two, and I think going forward they'll be fine. Seema's got pace and all, and a bit of trickery. It's probably taking time to settle in. So, we're just looking to we need to keep the defence tighter. We need to keep that a bit more watertight because we are open at times. But we're asking Cantwell and Cifuentes, Lammers, got vision and skill. It's just a bit more settling in, and he'll have to pick the right formula. I just don't think he knows about his best 11 as yet. But it's about just winning games in Cairo and picking up the points in the league. That's what we need to do. So we'll get tested on Tuesday night, but hopefully I think Balogun will come back in. I think on Saturday, I think he'll probably drop or rest Coulson with a view to Tuesday night.
Stevie?
I think Cairo sums things up well, you know. Just he mentioned about Big Seema. I would have took him off either. I'm trying to touch on the things that Southside didn't touch on. I thought Big Seema should have maybe stayed in the park, but he took him off. And as you said, Ox, it was probably already arranged that he would have been coming off due to the heat and whatever else. But listen, we've got a great wee midfield there. Our forwards will come together. Winning breeds confidence, and I think if we win the next few games and we can win at Ibrox, beat PSV at Ibrox, get into that game, that will give the players all the players a big lift that they need.
Cairo, we've got this enigma with Tarvin, particularly Tarvin here, and Golson as well. He comes in as if he's a superhero, you know, and it looks as if he's towing a caravan. I know you've never been a fan, but the enigma of Tavernier last night, can he pass the ball? Can he get the ball past a guy with a free kick? Then he pops up at the back post and a right back and scores again. It's just an enigma, isn't it?
I just wish he could defend. It'd be perfect. You know, if he didn't get sucked in. And I know he's asked to play the way he's playing, and he does it, and he's up and down. But that's my thing with him. You know, that's what takes the shine off him for me, as he can't really defend, and he does get sucked in and we lose goals. Now, a lot of folk will say the benefit of that is you've got to take the benefits of him scoring and all that type of thing. Well, I don't think you should. I think we should have a defender that can defend. Fair enough, we'll get the free kicks and the penalties off him. But if he defends, we don't lose goals, and we get somebody up front that can score, and that takes the pressure off to have to go up there, and it lets him do his primary job, which is defending. Now, I'm not saying you take away him bursting up the wing and scoring goals like that, but that's his primary role. It's something he's doing and has been asked to do. But if we'd good forwards that were scoring goals here, we wouldn't be depending on Tav having to do that and maybe let him defend. The thing is, I don't know if he can defend, and this constantly getting caught in the middle. It's a mistake, an error. It's fundamental to me, and it's something with no fix. And I'm not saying Tav's a bad player. I know he's getting asked to play that role and he's asked to do it. I just think if we could fix that, he'd be a much better player. And I think if he stood out and marks his man, maybe Golson will mark his man in as well. The two of them were caught betwixt between a wee bit at the goal as well. I know that Suter missed the header, but it's just something I've watched for 3-4 seasons now between Tav and Golson, and it's quite perpetual. You know, it's not something that's just happening. If it only happened once, you could say fair enough, or once or twice a season, but it's regular, and that's the bit that irks me. So I'm terrible, you know. But hey, that's partly where Jack sometimes doesn't get the credit, because he mops up in that area type of thing. But I mean, it's just one of the things, and you're right, I've never been a fan of Golson. I'm not going to mention it again, but I think Suter playing on the right's much better than he is when he's playing the left. And if you're a natural left-footed player, I'd take Suter or Golson all the time.
Because the managers seem to like Golson. I don't think he looks 100% fit. But we've not got a first choice left-sided player at the moment, which gives us a problem. Centre-half's been a problem now since this time last year. We started picking up injuries, and that has been an issue. Davey, where do you stand in some of Cairo's comments, mate?
Aye, the man's spot on. In fact, I've been saying it for quite a wee while now. I mean, that's our Achilles heel at the moment. And if we can see it, everybody else can see it. But if we don't change it, we're still going to... I mean, you've got to remember how long they've been there. And we've changed everything else round about. So I don't think we've really replaced the places that really need in that department to get changed, because every time it gets, like a Tavernier, he gets in the neck all the time. But you just nailed it, Ox, when he says, well, obviously the manager sees it differently. But I'm with Kyle, it's definitely needing, something needs to be done, because it's definitely our Achilles heel.
I'm not saying he's been playing well this season, but to pop up at that back post, it's mental, Stevie.
Listen, I'm going to be controversial, and I hope Robert Withers is listening. Tav is not a captain. He's not a defender. He's a good player. He's a great servant of the club, and he's better going forward. Everybody knows what his game is. And I'm sorry, I've been saying it for donkeys. I like him. He's a good guy, nice guy. He's a good player. To me now, looking at that team, there's other people in that team now could easily be the captain. Suter, Butland at the back. There's a couple of guys there. Even B. Rasker or Cantwell could be your captain now. And I just think this could be Tav's last year. No disrespect him, but what a great servant he's been. And I'm not talking as if the boys know there. I mean, last night was trademark, man. It was absolutely everything Tav done. It was woeful. And then who pops up and gets a goal? We're captain. But the bottom line for me, he's no a captain. He's no pinning anybody against the wall. He's no giving them hell on the park. I don't know what kind of big influence Tav would have in the dressing room. They say he has, but I just can't see it. And I hope Robert Murdo doesn't come on and start giving me a jab, but I'm just saying it how I see it. He's a good player. He's a good servant of the club. He's not a captain, and he's not a defender. He can't keep hens out of midden. Come on.
Southside, from a different point of view.
Listen, he scored big goals for us in Europe. Take away his penalties. He scored some big goals in Europe. He's got his flaws in defence, and I think Golston helps contribute to that. He's no commanding, he's no dominant, he's no a leader. He turns his back when players are taking shots. That's for me, does my head in, and he's been guilty of that on many occasions. He sort of organises in that, but he's got no pace. He never even had pace when he was up to full fitness. Tav does some shift. Stevie says that's a hard shift Tav does. He's up and down, but he's getting older. He's been here 9 years, probably close to that. And he's picked up injuries, and it's a bit of a shift. Maybe John Sterling will come in at some point. He seemed to, when he came on, he looked quite solid. He won his headers. He was putting his foot on the ball, and he was getting the passing moving. But so maybe there might be a time when you can rest Tav from time to time and maybe bring that boy in and play him in at right back. And obviously you'll have Yilmaz on the left. So you would think in time they two will move on, and it's only going to be Golson that's going to be left, and he'll never see 4 years in a Rangers jersey. I've said that. I think that's probably be his last year. I think it's time we moved him on after the end of this season, no matter what happens. And probably Tav might be the same, because you need to get freshness. But like you say, he pops up with loads of goals, important goals. And the Born are close, and Tav was there on the night. And it's been a trademark for us for a number of years, and it gets us into the next round of Europe, so you can't be too critical.
Yeah, it's a big talking point. I'd be fair to say, Cairo, that Tav's a wee bit Marmite for a lot of people. Mr. Fox absolutely idolises him.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what he's asked to do and he's doing what he's asked to do, that's fine. I just wish he was better defensive. I just wish he wouldn't get sucked in and was better defensively. Then it might be worth even more.
See the sucking in? Have you noticed this season we're playing really narrow, mate, the whole team?
I have noticed that, Hawks, to be honest with you. I think that's definitely doing to Beale and they're playing a bit narrower. But at the end of the day, what you tell at school whenever you're a right back, whenever that winger comes in, you nab him, you get on him, you don't let him get away. And I mean, last night, having Golson were throwing no marking anybody, to be quite frank. You know, they weren't really at it. I think Jack had that other player mark and the big fella missed it either. But Tav had come in again, and he had no need to do that. I don't know why he done it. It's just one of the things you should be watching for your winger coming in. I mean, even Barisic. I think Barisic had one of the best games he's had for us for a wee while. I think he's for being as heartless as he was, he had it quite well last night. And he was getting it in himself, but some of his play was really good, and he was tackling, and he was getting back, and he was defending. I mean, he did a couple of defensive things. They were good. He did a couple of things that were bad as well. But I mean, don't get it wrong. He was miles better than he's been for a wee while. And I just think that with Tav, I think it's a flaw we've never fixed. Now, has he been asked to fix it? Has he been told to fix it? I don't know, but certainly it's something I've seen. I mean, it's just endemic for me, and it just irks me something terrible.
It'll be interesting to see how it pans out with Dijon Sterling, Steve. Yeah.
Aye, I think the boy should be. Tav needs a rest now and again. As Southside says, the boy does a shift. Tav's up and down there all the time. Look, I'm being a bit harsh on Tav, right? He isn't a captain, and I stick by that. And he's no a defender. And I mean, come on, even Stevie Wonder could tell you that. Come on, I'm sure we can all agree on that. He's not a defender. He's brilliant at going forward, and he always contributes to the game. And there he done it last night. But Golson, I've seen Milk turning quicker than that. Golson's halfy slow, and he's only going to get slow on Southside, right? We give that guy a 4-year contract. There's no way in the world he's seen that out. Money for nothing.
Well, I tend to agree with Southside. I don't know what he's going to be like in 3 years' time. You know, you can see he's played a lot of football, Southside, in the last few years.
Aye. Listen, him and Tav were ever present, and you could guarantee that they'd be the two names on the team sheet. But Michael Beale's come in. His job's on the line here. This isn't a gimmick. He's not a coach now, and Gerrard was picking the team. It's down to him. And I keep saying you can't have favourites in your team. Can he keep thinking, it's just Tav? If he's playing rotten or he's not cutting the mustard, he'll need to change him. He brought that boy Dijon Sterling in. So if you've got to get him in the team or you want to rest him, to give the boy a game. But if Tav's form drops or that, then there's no reason, captain or no, that he stays in that team. If Michael Beale wants to do that, he'll go out that door if we don't get results. And Connor Golson's the same. I get the now we're struggling for defenders, but I just think he thinks that he is his mainstay, and he probably will be picked when fit. But his performances, on the whole, he gets away with it in Scotland. But when you go into Europe, you get punished. And even last night, he was sticking his boot out and kicking fresh air and all that, at times. So, but he's not tough enough for me. And even last night, in the last few minutes, when you seen that cross coming in, that guy was up miles above him. He hardly even jumped. You want your centre half in there competing, but he's got his flaws. But in Scotland, he gets away with it, Hawks. So he's no my cup of tea either, Cairo. But he's a Rangers player, and you've got to back him. But he's got to be performing and all at the same time. You can't. We call it out when we see it. All our support on the daft. We might be critical at times, but when you're there at Ibrox and you're watching it, then when we critique it and everybody thinks the same, then we're all in agreement. But for me, his performances need to get better. But at the moment, he's lacking fitness, and that's why he's getting played to get the minutes into his legs.
All right, a question for you, Kyril.
Mm-hmm.
How big a game was it for the manager last night?
I think it was a really huge game for the manager last night. Not just in terms of nothing to do with Job. I think he's job safe, but I think in terms of what he's trying to get for the team and what he's trying to get out for the team and getting the players to believe in what he's trying to play. Because at times last night, that's what I'm saying. I'm really optimistic because I've seen the midfield. You've seen that. You know, the thing we said with that leadership with Butland at the back, screaming at folk and shouting at folk, and getting them, telling them where to go and organising them. That's what captains do. You had Wee Raskins showing what to do. Him and Big Suter were demonstrating, and they were geeing folk up and they were pushing folk. I mean, as I say, Raskin for me just typified it. And you've got what do you call him? Cantwell. He Cantwell stirring things up. You have a wee bit sort of a cheekiness and all that type of thing. Swagger, somebody said earlier on. That's came back into our game. See if we could get that emanating through the full team, then I think that's where I'm a wee bit more optimistic, because I've seen the shoot set last night. I've not seen that for 2 seasons within a couple of players in the team. It's always been drab and dreary. So that's where I'm optimistic. And I think as far as Beale's concerned, with that game last night, with them winning last night or getting through last night, that maintains, that goes out, that confidence hopefully starts to go across other players, and you start to get the forwards starting to get that confidence, the swagger that Cantwell's got and the grit that Rassing's got starts to go into other players as well. You know, that feeling you get when Rangers the first 3 minutes when they play the Animals, you know right away how it's going to be. If the first couple of tackles are tasty, we're up for it, that sort of thing. They get that instilled, as I say, that je ne sais quoi that we've missed for ages, that thing that's been missing. We've said it's leadership, we've said it's attitude, we've said it's yada, yada, yada. I seen a bit of that last night, and as far as it goes for our manager, it keeps that going. If we'd have got beat last night or get put out last night, how does he get them back up to that same place, particularly the players that matter? And I'll be quite honest, I think Butland's the guy that's going to be our captain in a wee while, because he really does. He commands his area, he gets there, he's got folk, he's shouting at folk and they're listening to him, he's organising and he's seeing everything in front of him. Personally, I don't like goalkeepers as captains, but in the place where it just now, I think he's got the aspect there that gives him that. So for the manager, it was a real crucial game, and I think that takes us up to Saturday, how he picks his team, to see how he keeps that going. And then the next game in Europe is the next biggest game. But I think the fact we've got through this part, that level will be there. And it's just a matter of growing that now. And if we get through next week, then that takes everything up a couple of notches. Doesn't mean we'll have to play a couple of notches better. But that's the benefit for the manager. I think that the team has that wee bit of belief in them. I just start to see that belief. Our forwards, the open goals, start to put them away. We start taking shots outside goal at the box because we're confident. We're not tipped up. So that type of thing. And that's what the manager, I'm hoping that's what the manager's generating as we go forward. So that's how much I think it was important to him.
Stevie did a lot of criticism if it went wrong, but ultimately got ordered him at half time, done his job, and you've got to give credit with his due.
100%. That was the manager's biggest test so far since he's come back, for me anyway. Can you imagine if we did get put out last night, how flat we would be tonight and get into that Morton game? It wouldn't have done a lot for the players at all, but that'll give the players a wee lift getting through that and breeds confidence. And for everybody in the club, the fans, we're all looking forward to PSV now and bringing that on. So it's given everybody a lift. For me, Beale would have been shattered today if the Rangers never went through. And for me, that was his biggest test, 100%.
David?
The boys are spot on, right to the point. I think come against Morton, this is an ideal opportunity to play Stirling and Balogun. And if he's got any intentions of playing at Tavernier and Colston, he's got to bring them two in on Saturday. If he's wanting to play the other two on Tuesday, and this would be an ideal time to see how they would blend in, and I think they would blend in well.
Big bang man of the match last week. How big a game was it for the manager for you, Southside?
Well, it's a European tie and you can't begin out at the first hurdle, so it was a big game, but we should have had it done and dusted at Ibrox. That was the thing which left him still in the tie, but a massive game. I think if you're talking about the cup tie, Ox and Saturday, you'd like to think you could leave Tav and Golson out, and you'd be able to play the boy Sterling. I'd play Suter at right on the right side. I'd play Balogun and probably have to play Borna. But you should be able to rest Golson. I don't think he'll play anyway, but Tav will probably make it. But should he know, I think it'd be an ideal time to play the boy Sterling and get 90 minutes into his legs.
All right. Be interesting because usually Tav plays, doesn't he? Bizarre as it seems, but I don't disagree with you, mate. And I just want to go run the 4E's quickly. Would you start with Dessers and Danilo? Yes or no? Just a yes or no answer. Stevie?
Yes.
Cairo?
Yep.
Davey?
Yeah.
Southside?
Yep, said it earlier.
How'd you play them then, Southside? How you playing them to them?
Just play them as a front two. We could play Morton in a 4-4-2 on Saturday. It wouldn't be a problem to play a 4-4-2, would it?
Yeah.
I think he'll probably play Dowell. I would probably play Dowell on Saturday to get game time into him. I'd maybe even probably leave Raskin in the team with the review to take them off, and I'd probably play Cantwell for a period of time and then get him off. Probably put Hadji on or something like that in his place, but we should be good enough to get a few goals up against Morton. Probably play Lammers and then the front two. Sounds a strong team, but I think you could easily start with that and then you'll get a view to changing the team a bit. But I think we should have enough quality to be able to leave certain players out, and any team that we put out in that part should be good enough to beat Morton at Ibrox. But I think we could probably even I'd even leave Jack Buckland out and play McCrory.
There's potential for that to happen. The show's going to get interesting in the next few minutes. I'll leave that with you. I'll leave that with you. Hang on to your hats. Right.
The child support.
What was that? What was that?
Are they not going to be complimentary to us? Like,
no, they might have a different point of view. People are entitled to their point of view. The last time I looked, it was still a free country.
Must be Robert. We're talking about the captain now, sir.
Is it Robert? Is it?
Oh.
He usually has a go at me. I know I like Robert, but he usually has a go at me.
Evening, Robert.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we all doing? Running down the wing, you'll hear the Rangers sing. He's James Henry Tavernier. Now, can I just say something to you all? 300,000, no 4.5 million like that big donkey we had up front that came on as a substitute. It couldn't hit a barn door. 300,000, and he got his 5 million. 300,000, and he was the main contributor to getting us to a Europa League final and earning us 25 to 30 million. So please, see your criticism of James Tavernier. And yes, Stevie, you were right. He did have a honking first half, but so did 8 other players have a honking first half. But you always seem to want to pick out our captain. Come on, get a grip.
Robert, listen, I was asked about our captain and Golson. I wasn't asked about other players. I gave my opinion.
Can I ask you about John Shooter then? Can I ask you about the typical Scottish guy like Ryan Jack? Can I ask you about John Shooter, who caused the goal? It wasn't Tavernier that caused the goal, but he get the blame. I've seen a lot of feeds today going, Tavernier never picked his man. The ball ricocheted right in the middle of the park. It ricocheted, and Golson could have done better. Probably Cap could have done a wee bit better, but John Shooter caused the goal, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you, Robert. I don't disagree with you. On you go, Stevie.
said it. We've already said it on the show tonight. I don't know if you caught the start. We said who caused the goal. We already said it, Robert. We're not just, by the way, we're not talking about just Tav last night. We're just talking in general, Robert. Tav's a great servant at the club. He's been a good player and a smashing guy. For me, Robert, he's never been a captain. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And you're totally right. A lot of people pick on Tav and other people in the park are atrocious too. Now, the whole team wasn't good in the first half, Robert. Would you agree with that? The whole team wasn't good in the first half. Listen, Tav, and if you listen to what I say, he always contributes to the game, Tav. Doesn't matter how bad he is. Bang, free kick, tap corner. He always sneaks in at the back post, or he always gets a goal and an assist. He always contributes in games. I just don't think he's a defender, and I don't think he's a captain. That's just my personal opinion. But you're totally right. Some of these other feeds out there, they don't give the boy a fair crack at the whip at all. But him and Golson, come on, Robert. Golson, we've seen Milt turning quicker. Come on. And the big man, we've given him 4 years, a 4-year contract. Far too long, Robert. Far too long. Yep. You every week the same as we Southside. Far too long. We watch the same team week in, week out. We watch the same players. Tav's brilliant at going forward, Robert, but he couldn't keep hands out of him. He's no a defender in any shape or form. That's what I'm saying. But he contributes every game. I know he was woeful in the first half, along with 8 or 9 other players, but he contributed last night. He came up tops and got us through the tie.
No, it's disappointed me, Southside, if I'm being honest.
Uh-huh.
I'd have thought Robert would have known 20 minutes ago.
listen, Tav, listen, you can't argue, right? For what we paid for the guy, for what he's done at the club, the only thing is he's not picked up the trophies, Robert. No, he's not been picking up the trophies, captain at Glasgow Rangers, right? But as I said at the end when I was talking about him, he popped up last night, which he's done in many a night in European football, and got us a goal that's got us into the next round, and we're through to play PSV. It was a big goal for us last night. We needed a goal, and he popped up and got it. I think a lot of it will be with Tav, Robert, as the narrowness, right? And see, last night the ball was on the left hand side, and what they done is, I know and see if anybody had vision, they would just have switched the ball. They had 2 players out in our right wing, nobody near them, right? I know the ball was at the other side of the park, but teams have probably watched us. PSV have watched us and how narrow we are, and they play with wingers. But see if the ball had been switched, we weren't so bubble, and it's just because we're no filling out in the width to go. He doesn't push out, so when he does go out, he's going to have a winger coming up with a wee bit of pace. And I don't know if it's instruction, Robert, he's got to stay in narrow, or whether it's just the way it is that he drifts in. I don't know. But any good winger will give him a problem, same as they'll give Borner a problem. But we've got to cut him a bit of slack at times, Robert, because we were asking him to bomb up the park, and if we get the ball turned there, sometimes most of the time our goals come down that right back channel when the ball gets put in and we lose a goal, and he's not there, but he's up the park. It's a risk we take, Robert, but it's something we need to solve. I think he needs to. Yeah. Michael Beale needs to get a bit more. I'd like to play a 4-5-1, Robert, in Europe. It wouldn't bother me. Keep it tight in the midfield, keep the gap shut, and then spring. But he's got his view of playing the way he wants to play, with the 1 and the 2 up, or 1 and 3, whatever. So we'll just have to go with it. But we will be open in Europe if we can. That's a fact, because far better calibre of teams are going to come and hunt us, whereas in Scotland we get away with attacking all the time.
Southside, why then, seeing certainty, and I don't mean games against Ross County, Motherwell, Ibrox and that, right? Why no in certain games, Celtic, PSV Eindhoven, why no go a 3-5-2? Because that's what Beale wants. Beale wants, we've no Widman, and listen, I'm not a tactician. I give my money to Rangers Football Club, the club that I love. I don't know anything about tactics and all that, right? I just go up there, sit in my stand and cheer the Rangers on. That's all I do. So I don't ask me about tactics and all that, right? But why no play then a 3-5-2 if that's what he wants, Tav and Borner to be? What are they called? Are they wing backs? They're kind of a wingers in a way, because we know they can't defend, right? So see if that's the case, why is our manager no playing to the strengths? Why is he not saying, right, if you two are going to bomb forward, we need three at the back. And my three at the back, and I'll tell you the new guys, see Saturday, I would play Ori for, but no, I'm waiting for Saturday. Get Kmart Roof in that team and give him 60 minutes, because come Tuesday, I want Kmart Roof up that front with Danilo, and I want three at the back, and I want the three at the back, Golson, Shooter and Balogun. There you go. That's the team. And your three at the midfield, Cifuentes, dead easy, Raskin and Cantwell. There's your team for next Tuesday. But we need to get Kmart Roof. What has Kmart Roof and Yanis Hadji done? We know they're just back to injury, but what have they done wrong that they can't get minutes in the Rangers team? Is it because he never signed them? That's another question I'd love to bring up. What has Kmart Roof and Yanis Hadji done that they can't get minutes in that Rangers team? But yet Lammers and Seamer and Jester, they've done absolutely nothing for Rangers. What have they two done that they can't get minutes?
I think Kmart Roof wasn't in the European squad, mate, so he couldn't play the last two games. I think you can refresh it now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, mate. But if he's not in the squad, in the European squad, he doesn't start. But I take your point about Saturday. It wouldn't surprise me if both him and Hadji are involved, and maybe even Tom Lawrence on the bench, which is all positive. Cairo, on you come. Some of the comments of the discussion.
Yeah, I think, being honest, in Saturday's game, the manager's got to look at the players he thinks need a break, need a rest, and he's got to look to the game on Tuesday as the main thing. We should cruise past Morton, whatever team we put on, and I think he's got to work it so that he gets a strong team on there with players that are still okay to play, the best player. Go with the strongest team he can without interfering with Tuesday's game. And if that means Tav plays or he doesn't play or whoever plays and the other ones don't, then fine. But I think he's got to make that judgment. Because I don't care who we play. We should always play with our strongest team, albeit you've got to look at the PSV game coming up. So there'll be a couple of players there who, particularly in the midfield, the way they were playing. I don't know about Cifuentes. I mean, he's just came off a season there, so it may be, I don't know if we give him a rest or no, but certainly I think that's up to the manager to figure out who he can rest, who he can't, but go with his strongest bloody team. Now, if it means the difference between Hadji getting a game and Kmart Roof playing versus somebody else, sell a B. I'll go. I'll back the manager up with that. That's fine. Personally, if you're going to be gone with the two new lads as your premier forwards, and you're going to play with two up front, you've got to give them a chance together at some time. So if he's not going to go with two of them up front and just go with the one, then obviously he's got the choices there. But he's got to go with his strongest team against Morton, against Stenhouse, Muir, against, I don't care who it is. You go with your strongest team all the time, bearing in mind what you're playing in the Tuesday in Europe. And my overall thing is, we should be able to, if we get a team that plays in Europe, and we've got the players there that can do it now, we just need that thing that we've been missing for a wee while. To get that to make the gel, I don't care what team he plays in the Scottish game, because we've got the players to play in Europe and we've got the skill to play in Europe, and we've got that wee bit digging us. Then I think the SPL takes care of itself, the Scottish Cup takes care of itself, and the League Cup takes care of itself. We should win the games without thinking about it, to be quite frank.
Davey, how are you getting on with the show tonight? C'est la vie, je ne sais quoi. It's a bit much for you, mate.
Je ne sais quoi? You mean I do not understand? Do you think I don't know a wee bit of the old Pally Bouffon say? Give us a break. Give us a break. They sell the same old teasers in French, and same here. It's the same old teasers.
David.
Yes, David.
I can sing the Bully Boys in French. Would you like to hear it?
You could sing it to me, son. You are top of the pops.
Bonjour, bonjour. De nous song de garçon de Bully. There you go, huh?
That'll do for me. That'll do for me, Tommy.
Culture on here, Robert. Culture.
Can I just say something else?
No. Carry on, mate.
Well, I agree with the guys that are saying you play your strongest team. He's got to go out there and maybe see how the game goes, so I can't see it going differently. got maybe 2 or 3 up off time, and then he'll take what he wants to play on Tuesday. He'll take them off, and then bring on the other ones. I think that'd be the way it'll pan out. But they'll just put a big block on, but I can't see it working against the Rangers.
I think sports science might kick in south side, but then none of that adds up anywhere with Goldson appearing for nowhere to play in the opening.
He took a gamble. I think that's how we'll probably rest him. And like we've all said, we should be able to rest some of these players and put enough in the team. If Roof gets a chance up front or whatever, it wouldn't bother me. But I'd like to see Danilo and Dessers just play for even 45 minutes, get the goals that we need, and then we can get them off. It's just about keeping them all ticking over and making them hungry to get in the team into it and fight for your place. Feel sorry for Hadji. I thought he might have got in the park the other night, but he chose not to. But I think he may be featuring on Saturday. I think it worries me still is the by kick scenario when we're trying to work it out for the back. We don't seem to have a pattern of play about what we're trying to do yet. And against better teams, you're going to get shut down a lot quicker. So I think it's something that you should be working on if that's the way he wants to do it. Otherwise, we'll be kicking long balls up the park. So I think we should get some sort of style that we know what we're going to do. I've seen different teams do different things. And some of it's actually worked out pretty well, the way they work it out for the back, because I've obviously practiced it down in England. So if this is the way that we're going to do it, then I hope to get something sorted soon, because it's not looked good at all in any way we've tried to work the ball out for the back.
I do think the sports science will come into play. I'd be surprised if Cienta starts Stevie. We're taking cramp last night. I think it's time maybe to take him out and keep him fresh for Tuesday.
See, I'm not into all that sports science nonsense. I just see it how it is. I mean, look, back to my tail play. I know it's a different level and all the carry on, but man, you used to play on the park for 8 hours at a time. You never heard a hamstring. You never see these sports science. What is it they actually do? It's got to tell me. They tell them what they're eating, how long they've ran, and what their heart rate is, their shooting blood. What is it they do? Got to tell me.
Well, just look at yourself being a natural half.
Oh, the other confidence getting done again, eh?
He's looking for us to get him a private chef, and aren't you, Stevie?
I'm going to give just something popped into my head there, right? I can't remember where I was, and I got a pie, right? And I went back to the wee boy, and I said, it was a wee Chinese boy, and I said, "Oh, that's steak's rubbery." He says, "Oh, thank you, sir." I went, "Thank you." I said, "No, lovely, rubbery." By the way, and I'm telling you, honestly, David, you've the idea. See these sports scientists? Well, I think they tell players what they want to hear. I really do. That's not for me. It's not for me at all. Sports scientists, you need to eat this, you need to do this amount of running, your heart rate's this. And for me, man, I mean, look at George Betty. He was running up Gaza. They're running about the park half steaming.
So say that says just lost all our Chinese listeners.
He'll be banned. He goes in there, but no, you're out of here. Oh, listen, it's what it is now, modern football, isn't it? It's how much running you've done and all that, and then you might end up with an injury or you've ran too much, you know. I remember Harry Redknapp talking about it ages ago. One of his players had to come off training because he said otherwise he couldn't play at the weekend, and he was like, "You kidding me on?" He's like, "No," you know, and he's like, "I don't understand this nonsense either." He was saying, you know, but it's part of the modern day football. They're playing at a higher level, but when you look at English teams in the Premiership and you look at our players, they're a lot fitter, Stevie, and a lot more like athletes than what we've got playing in Scotland. But it's about conditioning them and the amount of running they've done pre-season working at, and it's something we've just got to go with. If certain players are going to get left out for that reason, then if it's going to make them better on the Tuesday night, then we can't disagree, can we?
Where do you stand in the sports scientist bit, Robert, and then Cairo?
Oh, I'm with Stevie. I don't get it, because if that was the case, Big Golson shouldn't have been playing last night. And again, Beale contradicts himself when he says, "Oh, see if you do well, your shirt's yours." Well, Big Balogun done brilliant. I thought Big Balogun, Suter was brilliant last Saturday, but I thought Big Balogun was even better, and yet he's trapped for the game. What does that say to him? So this sports science nonsense, I don't get it. Just like I don't get if you play well, you'll always be in the team. I don't get that at all, because that doesn't happen.
Kind of.
Well done, Robert.
I think with teams that are really elite teams and they're playing for big money and they're playing for, you've got $1 million, an 80 million asset, then having somebody that's looking what they're eating and all that type of thing and monitoring that, maybe value for money. For somebody that's playing with Ross County is kicking lumps with your Rangers players, well, you need it. So when you get to the Rangers, who you want to try and aspire to, value for money for us, probably there's enough there to tell us who's fit, who's no fit, who's looking after themselves and that. But the value, the sort of a value that you get as you pay more to get more and more information and that type of thing, it gets less and less. And, if you're going to have a manager that's going to do what he wants anyway, what's the difference? All he wants to know is his players fit, or his players no fit, or who's the fit, or who's hanging for this. So it might be a wee bit OTT for anything more than Rangers. For Rangers, I'm thinking, is it value added? I don't know, but I think there's something in the science about generally keeping your players fit, seeing seeing how they should be eating and how they shouldn't be eating, and how it affects certain players, just to let them know. It's up to them if they do that, and then it's up to the manager, of course, if he's wanting to pick them. A la Balogun versus Golson. The manager made a choice. Golson came in, so he's overriding that. So it depends how much credence you put on it as a manager. So for me, I think it's got its place. Is it as big a place as it would be at Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and they kind of teams? I don't know. Certainly at Rangers, it has a bit of a place. I don't know how much it gives us additionally playing in the Scottish League every week, but certainly if we get to the upper echelons, the Champions League in a couple of seasons or that type of thing, then yeah, it's good to have it in there, because then you know what you're talking about once you start to use it. So yeah, it's got its place, but is it be all and end all? I don't think so.
No. And I do think Beale blew out of the water with the decision that Kilmarnock, rightly or wrongly, Southside.
He had to get minutes in his legs, and he probably looked at the bigger picture going ahead. We didn't think he would probably play, but as we found out later on that I think Davis was out, then we realised that Golson probably would play, and it was about getting minutes into his legs. He trusts him probably. He's probably one of his favourites or whatever. And he wanted him in the team. Balogun done all right, but Balogun did struggle to play 2 games, 3 games in a week at the time when he was here, when he was fit. But so that was probably his reasoning, and he was always going to play Balogun looking to the European games, and that's why he took him out of the team last week and then played him again there last night. And I think it'll be the same again on Saturday, just to keep him going, because he's going to be the mainstay in his team by the looks of it.
Oh, just a point to what was said there. I think the fact that these teams that look at it and use these guys, they're paying big money for it, and that they're looking after their investment as well. They're making sure their investment's doing what they should be doing and all that type of thing, just in case if they sell them and all that sort of thing. So there's a bit of the looking after our assets stuff in there as well. I mean, you get 80 and 90 million pound players. It probably is a valuable thing to do to make sure that your assets keep to the levels of fitness and eating the right stuff and doing all the right things for the longer term. Maybe no over a couple of games like the Kilmarnock guys who gave everything against the Rangers and then don't do something the next week that's totally different. But when you want that level of fitness all the time through a season and you have an asset costing 80 million, it may be of value to make sure that they're looking after themselves. So that's another facet to it that we don't necessarily look at.
Well, gentlemen,
I don't.
Yes.
What does sports scientists say? Oh, eat that. That'll help you kick the Rangers players better.
No, that's Kilmarnock and pie.
Raw meat, mate. Raw meat. Anyway, we've reached that time of the evening. Robert, last word for your good self.
On a positive note, well done the Glasgow Rangers last night, taking us through to that qualifying round against PSV. And thank you very much, Rangers Football Club. We've got a wee letter sitting in front of me from the Rangers Lotto. No address to me, address to Mrs. Weatherall, who won £500 in the Lotto. Well done.
Yeah. If you don't play, you can't win. I know that all about that at the weekend.
Good night, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
See you later, Robert.
Brilliant.
David.
Yes, thanks for Robert hearing us earlier. That was a pleasure.
I try to get the tune, but they wouldn't let me.
I thought that myself. But anyway, thanks for listening. It was a great show as always. Best show in town. God bless you, cheers, boys, and good night.
And it was great to hear from our good friend Cairo. Long time, but always worth a listen. Cairo, still with us?
I was on mute. I did a bridge, man, didn't I?
You done a bridge?
It's been a long time, guys. It'll probably be a long time again, but I'm part of the archive loyal now, and I listen every now and again when I get a chance and live. So I just started the season. I thought I'd phone up and give you some thoughts that I had to, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And as usual, the show's cracking. You keep me banging along, Ox, and the guys behind the scenes. Carry on. It's really good. It keeps folk going. All the best.
Cheers, mate. Always a pleasure, mate. Yeah.
Always.
Stevie.
Brilliant wee show, great wee platform once again. Everybody's got a different viewpoint. I knew when you says hold on to your hat, somebody's coming on. I knew it was going to be Robert because we were talking about Captain James Henry Tavernier. The tin hat was on, the whistle was blew, and there comes Robert over the top. I knew it was coming. Thanks for having us on. Thanks to my wingman Southside. And it's always hands across the Clyde. And I would just say to the Rangers fans listening in, give the guys time to gel. They're finding their feet. New city, new league, finding their way. Give them time, get behind the team. Come on, Rangers.
Yeah. Southside.
Aye, good show tonight, mate. Good topics and some good talking points. Good to be on with my big mucker, Stevie, as always. Looking forward to our wee trip to Dingwall on a week on Saturday. It'll be a good day, so looking forward to that. But apart from that, it was good to be with yourself as always. And that's what it is. We want a wee bit more time, but it's all about winning, Ox, and that's what Rangers are about. So let's get the victory on Saturday, Rangers, and let's just get on and conquer PSV after it. So let's do this. I'm on the Rangers.
I'm going to see if I can get the sports scientist to get a seat in the back of that bus. Yeah, that goes.
Bring us sparklers. Bring us sparklers outside.
They chance the sports scientists.
There'll be 2 seats in the back of the bus then.
Oh dear. Can I thank Robert for joining us? It's always good to hear from Robert. He defends his corner. We know who his favourite is. Good to hear from old Davey as always. But great to hear from our good friend Cairo. Thanks to Stevie and Southside for doing the show and Fox for doing the technicals in the background. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Foxy boy.